Whoops, she ran over. Just for that, I forgot to bring it again. So, as always, 20 shots, 10 meters, shooting from a rest. Yeah. So for a recreational youth air rifle, at $65 with all the bells and whistles, it's more than satisfactory. I'll also tell you about the shooting performance in terms of energy, muzzle velocity, and all that jazz. That was also very satisfactory. Yeah, I'm always amazed. I can operate this thing with gloves on, the U-shots here, so the weakest in between was 6.6 joules, and the strongest was 7.2 joules. That's actually very satisfactory. The muzzle velocity is also a spread here. I'll show you again individually. A spread of 8 meters per second. You can see the standard deviation is 2 ms. Yeah, and if not, I don't care. For a recreational thing, that's good. That's iodine, I like it. I just showed that one, just for comparison. This is the Coyote. It's a $600 rifle, Uzand, 10 shots. And I was already there for the Diana 27. Last time I only had a shot group with a red dot sight. 20 shots. This is now the Diana 27 with a scope. 20 shots. I think you can live with that. 20 shots aren't really that telling because they just leave a big hole, which is good for a recreational rifle. I'm going to have to switch to these 5-point targets and then take about 3 shots each or something like that. That way we'll get 15 shots. Let's see how I do that exactly. Pretty much. Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. That's interesting. Yeah, so we have a break barrel from Ruger here. So Ruger is the manufacturer here, so to speak. It's called the Explorer model. Manufactured under license from Edler Sturm, Sturm Ruger and Co. Inc. Why does it say Umarex.com up front? Very simple, because Umarex bought the naming rights for airguns. To put it plainly, this is some kind of Chinese piece, in which Umarex is allowed to slap the Ruger name and logo, because they bought the rights for it. That's how it works these days. It's no different with Diana. Also Colt, for example. Never made any air guns. So if there are Colt guns in the airgun sector, you know exactly that this is a Chinese manufacturer distributed in Germany. Well, interestingly, Diana air rifles were also sold in America under a completely different name. We have an F sign, 4.5mm Diabolo, Umarex Com, Ruger logo, and some fluttery symbol. We have an F symbol on it, we have a 4.5mm Diabolo symbol on it, we have Umarex Com, we have the Ruger logo, this fluttery something, I don't know. Interestingly, I couldn't find anywhere that says made in whatever. So there's not even a hint that it's made in China. It's probably hidden somewhere. Sneaky how they are. The stock is 2001. Of course made of plastic, that goes without saying. It's okay. Well, I would wish for the scope to be a bit further back, but there are appropriate mounts for that. The hand position is relatively close. Everything feels a bit too small for me. But it's meant to be a youth air rifle, so to speak. I think that's completely fine so far. Also keep an eye on the price, okay? So if you're looking for fine wood, for the stock you'll be searching in vain. It looks a bit strange here that the tongue, which is made of metal by the way, is U-shaped, is indeed metal. Can you see it? Yeah, it's wobbling. But to be honest, I didn't notice anything while shooting. It looks a bit strange because it's so far forward. And then, yeah, there's a lot of space when pulling the trigger. But the trigger is surprisingly good. So when I shot earlier, there was little take-up. Of course, it's a heavy trigger, but a clean trigger. So I think they did a good job. Even if that might not be a big deal. It's okay, totally okay. What really gets on my nerves, this damn automatic safety, completely useless. That might make sense if you're sneaking through British woods to take out rats or something. But here, where you're doing load shooting, a safety is as useless as a knife without a blade. and then with a fully loaded weapon. Here, where you're doing load, shooting, a safety is as useless as a knife without a blade. The term is missing, so don't know if I'll take it out. Somehow, someday, right now, I'm still avoiding the effort. It's like this. I thought maybe you could somehow clamp it down, lock it in place, or I could make some kind of device with the printer that just holds the thing in place. Unfortunately, when cocking, the cocking lever of the running trap forcefully pushes the thing back. So this lever is directly connected to something on the barrel. Since the thing is being pushed back, there's no just blocking it like that. Thanks to American product liability law. What do we have here? We don't have a rear sight. The previous owner obviously took it off. Or maybe it was the previous owner, who knows. And here too, the rear sight is also gone. And that has actually been ground down, right? Or cut off, scraped, shaved, whatever. Someone really went to a lot of trouble. Remove this thing. I know what I need anyway. I definitely need a higher sight rail because when I want to pull like this, I can only see the bottom half. I need to get a bit closer. So the increase of 1 cm would make a big difference. These are already relatively high rings that are on here, but there's definitely more that can be done. Maybe I could use this razor. So actually this here is a rail, one that's 11mm for a reversion rail. By the way, it's interesting with the reversion rail or Picatinny rail. The Americans call both of them Weaver rail, whether it's 11mm or actually Picatinny. And only they mark it with 11mm and the other with 20mm. When you're looking for accessories internationally, just don't let yourself get confused by stuff like this. Like I said, maybe a bit higher, but then I'm actually very satisfied and the muzzle energy is more than okay. This thing hits well. The barrel is completely made of some totally useless plastic stuff. That's not true at all. The barrel itself, the inside, is definitely steel. I'm just wondering right now, is this really plastic or is it just steel coated with plastic? I need some light. Is the firearm really unloaded? Yeah, I need to take a look in here. Hold on, there's light coming from there too. Is there a liner in there? So I really can't say. Anyway, the opening here at the front, scorched. So with a K, not with a G, it's not recessed. And it could be that the barrel is actually completely made of metal and just covered with some thick plastic coating. So, with a thick plastic coating, with a thick plastic layer, you have to be careful about what you say. I don't think being coated is bad at all, because nothing is going to rust there anymore. At first I thought it might be some kind of cover, but it really stretches all the way over the whole thing. It's covered with something, no idea. So, what else should I quickly mention? The trigger isn't adjustable, right? He doesn't have to, so it would be nice if it could be made a bit lighter. But as I said, that's the price. It's not tragic. What's interesting is that behind the scope mount, you can see this weird metal knob. That's a stopper. Scopes on air rifles, especially on pre-charged air rifles, tend to wander a lot. Is there a stopper behind it just in case? No, it doesn't wander off. What? I just remembered something incredibly important that I really wanted to mention, but oh, I remember. Scope. I literally just dug this out of the drawer this morning. No, you can't see it. You can... Just this one here. How do I manage to see the crosshair? I always have to wear glasses, by the way. So with glasses you can really see everything better. You have to unscrew it quite a bit, and when you pull on it, it wobbles, and I can see in the scope how the crosshair was up and down. So that means it's as it is. So it works. I'm hitting my target. That means there has to be something that keeps the thing in position. Now I understand why they said in the forum, hey, put a thick rubber around it. They're right about that. If you look at this groove here between the actual scope housing and the back, there's a really thick rubber ring that just sits in between and says, let's stabilize the whole thing. That could still be helpful. I'll keep an eye on whether it somehow changes the point of impact, but so far... Oh, and you know, you can unscrew the front and then set the actual distance to 10 meters yourself. 2001. Is there anything else that comes to mind? Wow, actually not. So I can fold this down again here and then, oh yeah, this folding motion is really easy, like pleasantly easy. Open. I've had others that wobble a lot, like the Sturger, for example, pulling on it quite a bit. Now I'm trying to shake it a bit, but nothing is wobbling here. So, no overly large dimensions as far as I can tell. I don't hear anything rattling. I would say, let me give a bit of a conclusion and say, if you can shoot this thing for a small amount of money, it's a good setup. It would be nice if you didn't get quite as big as I am. Or you have to do something. Look, back here we have, for example, yeah, the rubber can be unscrewed, which means I can extend the stock. I just take the rubber part to have the shape, put it on the scanner, and then it turns it into a, I don't know what it's called, an image format that only knows black and white. And you can actually convert it into TL, so the software accepts it as a template, as a part. Then I can just print intermediate parts of any thickness that I can screw in between. 2001. I'll just make the screws longer. I'm definitely going to have to change those, hoping that they're actually screwed in and not just some plugs that go in the back. Yeah, let's see, how much would I need? So, it could be more like 5 cm, but I also need to do a little something with the scope. Move the racer and the whole thing a bit further back. You can get everything, it just costs unnecessary money, but it's affordable. All good. Yeah, like I said, it looks like a good buy, a good purchase, to quote a famous movie actor. I can't think of anything special to say about it. It's fun to shoot, it's okay, I can live with that. There's a certain chance that this thing will spend some time with me. It could, for example, it could happen that this thing replaces the Diana 25 because I now have a Diana 27, and both are really good. And if this thing replaces the 25 for a bit, then the 25 can go away too. And then I just had to talk to Sturger because Sturger was definitely more expensive. The question is, it's definitely better. Maybe we'll make a comparison video. 1,000 apples with pears, expensive shotgun with a cheap shotgun. Let's compare, let's see. But I need to shoot the Sturger a bit first to really get a feel for it. And on top of that, the Sturger gives the impression that it's very, very new. And then everything is still a bit... And I have to break all of this in first. According to the seller, this one has basically never been shot. It's clear that everything always looks like new, but everything moves really smoothly. I can get really close like with a pistol, and can open and close it completely without any problems. So, discreetly like this, and that tells you everything again from the guy with the big orange hands, who has to turn off his camera himself with a relaxed smile because of the touch screen.